I am an apple. Story by Grace D. Chong. I know what you're thinking. My face is round, I'm fair-skinned, and I'm simply irresistible, just like an apple. But no, that's not why I call myself an apple. Let me tell you about that one day when I was 8. Abet, what took you so long? Come up now. Pedro called out from his treehouse. I'm done with our kite. When I entered the treehouse, Pedro held up the kite. Ta-da! But I could not smile. Although I loved kites, that day I did not. What's wrong, Abet? Your eyes, they're all red. Are you sick? I'm not sick, I snapped at him. Oh, you've been crying, Pedro guessed right. Course not. Boys don't cry, I lied. My eyes began to moist again. Then my mouth moved. I have no parents. What? Something happened to your Itay and Inay? They're not my real parents. They told me last night that I am adopted. Pedro tried to reply, but he was interrupted by a little girl's strange voice below. Pedro, Pedro, where are you? It's Adora, a balikbayan neighbor from the U.S. I didn't know she'd be back again so soon, Pedro explained. Pedro, I have a pasaluma for you. Pedro was so excited to go down that he did not notice my wet eyes. I hid in the treehouse and watched them through a small hole. Here, Pedro, this is for you. You brought me a red ball from the U.S.? Pedro gushed. This is not a ball, it's an apple. Apple? But it's too big. Pedro's eyes popped out. My eyes popped out too. I have never seen an apple that big before. Thank you for this ball. Apple, Pedro said. I could tell that he was disappointed. I brought you an apple because I am an apple, Adora said proudly. You are an apple? You mean your head is round like an apple? Pedro asked the questions I would have asked myself. No, I am an apple. A as an apple, A as an adopted, he said gleefully. I scratched my head and so did Pedro. You don't know what adopted means, do you, Pedro? Slowly he explained. My dad and my mom, they pick me, like picking an apple. You have to really choose what you really like. So you'll be really happy with your pick. I know what adopted means, Pedro said. I adopted a dog. I picked it because I liked it very much. Pedro then asked the question I wanted to ask. Why can't you call yourself adopted? Then Pedro said something more that surprised me. Adopted is a real good word. I know, but apple sounds so much nicer and more delicious. After Adora left, my eyes were dry and my normal voice came back. Pedro, I'll bring the kite down now. Ramon and Carding, they're waiting at the park. Pedro, you finished making our kite, Ramon shrieked. Abet, you brought a ball, Carding squeaked. This is not a ball. exclaimed. An apple gave it to Pedro. An apple gave Pedro an apple, they roared. Yes, from our balikbayan neighbor from the US. She's an apple. What? They were really confused now. I had to make them understand. Yeah, A as an apple, A as an adopted. I was surprised. My voice was as big as ever. I announced clearly, just like me. I am an apple too. By this time, all three of my best friends were totally confused. Ramon and Carding asked, A as an apple? A as an adopted? But adopted is a real good word. Why change it to apple? I had the perfect answer. Oh, apple is so much nicer and more delicious. And I told them about what my itay and inay said the night before. Picking you as our son is the nicest blessing we have ever received. Abet is an apple, I said, just to make it clear. My dog is an apple, Pedro added. I stared at the apple, and I promised myself when I go home, I will tell Itay and Inay I like being an apple. That was the day I understood what Itay and Inay had told me.